Of course, I am in the 80s. I have my own career. Yeah, so it was very hard to work with the wedges and stuff, but we know.
I'd like to introduce some friends of mine to you. You welcome Mr. Robert Blunt, Mr. Jimmy Page, Mr.
This is Robert Townsend. I'm backstage, and like I said, we're going to talk to Robert Plant in a minute, but everybody's here. Bob Geldof is standing right here.
It's a Sunday and nighttime too. Thinking about money like you with her. Sweet like a river. What kinds of magazines?
I still used to see Peter, but he wasn't the best of health. I said, Peter, what is it with these shows about coppers? He said, don't worry, Mags. Just take the money. Robert Plant grieved deeply over Bonham, but he wasn't ready to give up music after all. He pursued a career in the late 60s that never came to be. His wish remained unfulfilled. He turned one of his Jennings Farms barns into a 4-track studio. In the spring of 1981, Robert started performing live around the Midlands with an R&B band known as the Honeydrippers, which included his friend Robbie Blunt. They played soul and rockabilly songs in college halls and back rooms of pubs. People were shocked to see Led Zeppelin's singer in venues reserved for weddings and retirement parties. Plant demanded 9% of all tickets and planned to make a record, offering his bandmates equal collaboration. I was happy. I was finding my feet again after Bonzo, and I didn't want or need all the trappings, all the stuff that had come with Led Zeppelin toward the end.
Would you please explain to our audience who the Honeydrippers are?
You don't want me to answer that?
No, we've got your answer ready.
Oh my God.
One more time.
This is better than touring. This is great because you do it all sitting here.
Well, come back.
A rather good time tonight, hope you do too. This is one that comes from 1958. It's a track that's been revamped recently by a Welsh singer who seems to be doing very well. It's called Hey Man.
The day you count on for terror is not over. Friday the 13th, Part 2.
It's called Born Under a Bad Sign. Thank you for a wonderful evening tonight from the Honeydrippers. Thank you kindly, it's been a nice one. See you again, bye.
Robert, would you explain to our audience who the Honeydrippers are?
It was just old 50s rhythm and blues, sort of Chicago blues, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf. The Howlin' Wolf stuff was great, because that really suits when I let go and sing. I mean, it's just great. It's a great medium in which to sing. So we just pursued that. Then the idea came up. A lot of these guys didn't have very much bread, and they didn't have any bands to play in, so we decided to take it on the road for 4 days a week. No weekends because of the soccer, of course. But it was good. It started me off again. It allowed me to get within a couple of yards of the audience. I mean, like, it was one of those, if I wasn't singing right, somebody'd say, hey, you can do better than that. It was great. It was very nice. And as time went on, and that sort of went on for about 2 or 3 months, I began to think, well, there's a little bit more to it than this. And so there was. The guitarist who was playing, one of the guitarists in the Honeydrippers' name was Robbie Blunt. And we started working, just, you know, something to do, see if we could write something.
Really? Now, when you were working with Robbie Blunt, were you working, I mean, like together, conjunction, or would he go off and write the music and you'd write the lyrics, or would you actually sit down together like...
Oh, we just sat down together. Yeah.
Was that strange for you after years of just doing that with Jimmy and John Paul and Bonzo?
Oh, well, obviously, there was... I kept harking back and thinking, gosh, this is quite comfortable. It works okay, you know. But I'd known him for a long time anyway, so, I mean, it was just a little weird enveloping him into what I wanted to do, and he to me too. But I mean, we got used to it. It took a couple of days, and then we started pouring out.
Robert's new friends were not famous. Guitarist Robbie Blunt had been in Michael DeBar's 70s glam rock band, Silverhead. Fun fact, Michael was the lead singer in Detective, who were signed by Swan Song in 1977. Their debut album was produced in part by Page under the alias of Jimmy Robinson. Ex-Yes member Tony Kaye played keyboards, and the drummer, John Hyde, sounds a lot like Bonzo. This is track number 3, Grim Reaper. You be the judge. Plant and Blunt started writing songs together, and later brought in Paul Martinez on bass and Jess Woodruff on keyboards. September, Robert and his band checked in at Rockfield Studios to make their album. This is where Queen recorded Bohemian Rhapsody. The location was a remote residential area far away from London and Atlantic Records. Phil Collins, who had just finished recording Genesis' Abacab in June, played drums on most of the finished product, alongside ex-Rainbow Cozy Powell performing on 2 songs.
Now, Phil Collins recently just really, well, I shouldn't say recent, it's been about a year now, but completed his first solo album. In any way, because this is the first time that I know of that you worked outside of a group situation in recording an album. Did he help you in any way adjust to that?
Yeah, he gave me a lot of confidence because I was so used to working in a very close-knit team. And he said, well, what you got to do is go for it, you know? That's why I'm here now. He said, no, you just get out there and go. This was during the making of the record with Phil. He said, it's going to be great. You've got to you've got to make yourself available. You've got to push, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. And I really needed that kind of help too, because I mean, I had, as I say, been in that camp for so long, but suddenly I was standing alone going, oh, so much I can do. And he was a great help, apart from being an incredible drummer.
Yeah,
I mean, the pair of them were great for 2 totally different reasons. I mean, the one, Cozy was all power and right foot and lots of turning up in the studio until everybody was going, oh no, no more, you know. I submit. And Phil, on the other hand, was a different kind of technician. But they were both very important.
Rockfield was an absolute dream because it was pastoral, funny, and had a fantastic musical history. I moved here and became one of these dismal, happy, sad, failed musicians that other people crossed the street to avoid. I really enjoyed my being in this Rockfield environment. I had lived in this Goldfish Bowl in Led Zeppelin. Peter Grant and Phil Carson were invited to Rockfield Studios. They were not impressed by their material.
On the new album, you also used 2 drummers, Cozy Powell and Phil Collins, who's doing so well right now with Genesis. Why 2 drummers?
Well, it's quite simple, really. Cozy was very involved with Michael Schenker. I don't know whether you've heard Michael Schenker group. So he only had a short amount of time. It was one of those things where it was a suck it and see situation. It was like a rehearsal situation that may or may not have gone any farther. And Cozy said, well, I've got a couple of weeks. If you're going to really go for it, I'll come down for a couple of weeks and work with you. And in the 2 weeks that he was with us, we rehearsed and we recorded Just Like I'd Never Been Gone and Slow Dancer. And I said, well, maybe it's still a demo situation, you know, we'll have to see. Needless to say, it wasn't. This is selling my soul. This is I can't do all this spiel.
Oh, sure.
Phil, get me out of this instead of waffling to an executive. Oh, well, somebody with a suit on that fits then. I can't do all this, miss.
I'll light you another one. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Can I drink some Perrier, please?
Yes.
Cheers.
JJ, talk to
To a new whatever it is.
For both of us, really.